the complainant's testimony is the most important. The principles that the court cited, which is that the consistency and credibility is the most important in assessing the weight of a rape accusation, and that because the accusation can be made with so much facility, her testimony must be very, very carefully scrutinized. The court actually also, noted that when Ms. Cornejo said she suspected that she had been drugged, part of my cross-examination was to say, you did not see that happen, of course. And she said, no. And I said, you were just a few feet away from him, right?
Okay.
And then, of course, the other thing that was interesting for me, which the court noted, was also not only the material inconsistencies, but testimony that is inconsistent with human behavior. I did show the CCTV footages, and I asked for an explanation. I said, Ms. Denise Cornejo, this is you in the footages, you're smiling and you're...
after the alleged rape.
Yes.
Let's remind the viewer, because they may not remember, is after the alleged rape, there was CCTV footage of Ms. Cornejo going to the elevator, smiling, happy, really calm. We're in the demeanor of any woman that may have been raped, to run away, right? To be crying, to be upset, right?
And when she was confronted with that footages, her answer on the stand is, yes, what's wrong with that? That's how she answered it. And of course, the court also noted, as part of the inconsistency, the fact that she continued to text with Mr. Navarro after
he allegedly raped her. Okay, all right. So you've made it clear, and these are strong points. Let's talk about now. He has temporary liberty, he's out on bail. What are the limitations? Like, for example, can he travel? No. Can he travel?
Yes, of course, he can travel, but it will always have to be with prior court approval.
Okay. Number two, can he work? Do you advise him to go back to Showtime, for example, or have you advised him to lay low first?
It's actually up to Vong. He could work immediately, but that's beyond my pay grade already. Because frankly, for me, and this is what I advised him, but I said you have to consult people other than your lawyer, because there's no legal obstacle to you working. But from my mind, Karen, I was there on day one when he was detained. And prior to that, since July, can you imagine the pressure of all of these things happening? The Court of Appeals suddenly reversing what had already been dismissed multiple times, and the oddity of the Court of Appeals being already implemented at this point in time when it wasn't yet final, and yet it happened. I told you when you interviewed me before, it was very, very surreal to me up to now. And I can tell you, we as I told you, we were going to fight very, very hard, but I saw him from the time that he was worried about what was going to happen up to the time that he was a warrant of arrest was actually issued, up to the time he was detained.
What was he like? Go on.
It was, how would you feel, Karen, with that happening to you, even me?
So how was he? How was Mr. Navarro when he was detained? I mean, people respond differently. Yeah, former Senator Laila de Lima, very different when you ask her how she's coping, right? What was he like?
It was very hard for him.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that it was too hard, mainly because I don't want some sectors who probably would enjoy what's happening to him to just rejoice. But I have to be very, very honest. It was very difficult. It was very difficult. And then from the NBI to be transferred to the Taguig facility. But I have to tell you, Karen, I'm very, very thankful. While Mr. Navarro was detained, both at the NBI and in Taguig, he was treated right. The circumstances were difficult because he was with other detainees. He had to, he had to deal with them. He had to, interact with them. But they were, in the end, they were very, very nice. In the Taguig facility, which we had so much fear because of certain information that we had received. The first time I stepped at the when I went to visit him at the time when he was immediately after he was brought there, I was assured actually because I was able to talk to the jail warden.
Okay.
And the nurse and the other officers, they were very professional.
All right.
And they told me that it is also a matter of pride to them that Mr. Navarro be kept safe.
Okay. So all right. 2 more questions. We don't have enough time, but just very quickly. What happens next? How long, I mean, in terms of the timetable for a situation like this, where it's odd enough, as you said, that a court of appeals reversed the ruling, is how long can Bong Navarro be out on bail? How long before this court makes a decision? Because it's also his life at stake here. He can't move on completely. So yun muna.
Well, first to the question, how long will Mr. Navarro be out on bail? He'll be out on bail until the case is finished. And we are very, very confident, again, as I said, that because Mr. Dennis Corneas has already testified, that he will be acquitted. That's my fearless forecast. Of course, it's not up to me. I'll not be the one who will acquit Mr. Navarro, but I've been practicing. I know my law. Unfortunately, the hearings have been already set. No, in fact, my recollection is up to 2024 hearings have been held, but there are ways to expedite.
Yes,
I believe we will do that because at some point,
is it possible for the court to decide next year? I mean, is that possible in the Philippines?
I would pray, and I would urge the prosecution to cooperate by expediting the hearings. There are some witnesses. The prosecution named about 16 witnesses at the get-go. Some of them did not come. They had 2 witnesses, but it does not matter to me anymore if they come or not. Let them testify. Let them testify now. Let them testify all next week. We are ready. And if the matter can be already be submitted for resolution next week, we say go, let's go ahead. Let's have a witness every day. But unfortunately, the hearings have been scheduled, but we will look for ways to have the hearings expedited if that can be done. And of course, we still have a petition before the Supreme Court. We don't know what's going to happen there. But the goal really, Karen, Mr. Bong Navarro has already been granted bail. The goal is to have the cases themselves, not only this one, but for the acts of lasciviousness, disposed of, dismissed at the earliest possible time, if that is at all possible, in the name of justice and in the name of demonstrating that in this country, things can be done right.
Okay.
Yes, in accordance with law, in accordance with what justice dictates. That's our hope and our prayer.
All right. On that note, Attorney Alma Malyonga, thank you for joining me once again on Head Start. You take care, ma'am. I appreciate it.
You too. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. God bless you.